Longhorns did not let the weekend go by without getting an additional commitment, the 16th portal commitment of the year or of the cycle. Marcus Bowman, a local product out of Lake Travis, played 1 year of prep school ball before signing with Toledo, was a first-team all-district performer. He becomes the third linebacker that Texas has picked up in this portal campaign. CJ, you've seen Marcus play in high school. Tell us a little bit about what you know about the young man, height, weight, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to see him a couple times back in around 2023 at Lake Travis. He was about 6'1", 190 pounds at the time, very stringy, a rangy guy, but someone that would hit you. And that's what the Lake Travis staff would tell you whenever you go watch practice. You know, he kind of looked like a safety at the time. Now he's up to about 225, 230 pounds after a year at Akron, but really willing to lay the wood, if you would. And so that's something that I always took back from my time having seen him in person. He visited Texas actually for a junior day in 2023 back in January, probably around this time as well. So he's familiar with the campus, obviously from Lake Travis. He's coming back home to Austin, Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great that we find somebody like this that ends up coming back home. His dad, and I did say Toledo, and it is Akron. My apologies. His dad was a Olympic high jumped at the University of Texas, as well. His dad was in Sydney and Athens Olympic Games. I think finished 6th and 7th, respectively, in that. Jumped at the University of Texas as well. CJ, this is not a big NIL splash, right? This is part of what the portal is meant to do, though. You can bring back home guys that want to come back home and want to get a scholarship. If they're going from 85 to 105, perhaps this is the type of player that they're getting involved with and able to see if they can't help develop him, and he develops with them. Certainly has a lot of the key athletic traits. Yes. You mentioned he was 6'1", 185, 190 in high school, 26-6A all-district performer there at linebacker for Lake Travis. Maybe this is a little bit of where we're going with college football at some level, which personally I think is great. This is a guy that probably grew up wanting to put on the burnt orange and white, and now he has an opportunity to do just that, in part probably because of the increased scholarship numbers.
Well, I think it's great for the sense that, Texas can go out there and add a nice little regional kid to come in and improve himself. And I think for Marcus specifically, it's now that I have the opportunity to play at Texas, let's see what I can do. Let me bet on myself and make the most of the opportunity. Because to your point, this wasn't an opportunity for him coming out of high school, right? He didn't have the big national offers at the time. And, you spend a year at prep school, you end up at Akron, you play well there. Now schools are looking to fill a roster, add depth, and really start to buy into the potential aspect of guys deeper down on that roster. And now he ends up at the University of Texas. So what can he make of this opportunity? I think he is a big beneficiary of the roster increases as well. And Texas certainly benefits from adding a local guy who wants to play for the University of Texas, as a legacy, and knows what it means to put on the burnt orange and white.
Yeah, I think it's great. This is a guy that gets to come back home, hopefully get a degree from the University of Texas, work hard, et cetera. Longhorns doing some work in the portal overall at this point, I think, which is good as well. Right now, Texas still trying to get another offensive lineman in this recruiting class, also looking at a pair of edges right now, trying to get other guys on campus as well. We'll have to be working with you guys to keep you up to date on that. But 16th commitment of the portal cycle is Markus Boswell out of Lake Travis, the son of Mark Boswell, former Olympian and the University of Texas graduate. Hey, CJ, take a couple of questions here from some folks, because this is this is reality, right? This was news to us as it happened. So it's hard for us to answer questions like this. Clint Barrows, haven't watched film on him. Is he more of a middle linebacker or a Mike, or is he an off-ball linebacker? He had 19 tackles this year for Akron as a true freshman. So he did play early, which is, I think, encouraging. What is he more of, in your opinion? You said he could bring the wood a little bit or bring the leather. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a middle linebacking option again for Akron this year. He only had 2 pressures. Those 2 pressures resulted in sacks, Bobby. So look, he wasn't used to blitz very often, but obviously capable at that. A longer body. Again, I mentioned at 6'1", 190, he looked like he was very stringy. He has since filled out since then, but still a guy that has great range and length. That's going to be interesting to see how he figures into this defense. Right now, I figure him to be a developmental, long-term depth piece for 2026. But more than anything, it's a body in the room at linebacker, in which you've seen now Justin Cryer be added from Florida State, Rasheem Biles come in from Pitt. And when you start looking around at what that room might look like, you're going to need some bodies in that linebacking room for 2026, knowing linebacker is, 1, very important, but 2, they get banged up, right? That's the running back position of the defense in the sense that, hey, they're contacted and hit everywhere. So this is a guy with Division I experience, and more than anything, it's another body to the room for me.
Yep, gotcha. Do you think, my question to you on this is, could he also be a special teams guy? And Connor Stutzman puts that question. I think he absolutely could be. This is what you're trying to find, are pieces of the puzzle. This is not, I want to be clear, and with all due respect to Markus Boswell and his family, this isn't getting a linebacker that was first team All ACC with 181 tackles the last 2 years. This is a piece of the puzzle for Texas. You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right on. And special teams is probably where he starts. And I think, given his frame, given his, effort that we've seen over the years at Lake Travis as well, special teams is where he's going to make his name immediately, Bobby.
Yeah, people are asking, Perry Giles says, I think this is smart, a smart addition. What does he look like in coverage? Marcus Rawls, we don't know yet, bud. I'll be honest. We do not know. We have not looked at his film from Akron. This question from Juan Garza. Bobby, there are some rumblings of Bray Lynch from Indiana. Would he come to Texas after the national championship game? I'm going to remain silent on that at this point. Bray has a game tomorrow called the national championship game. He's a starting offensive guard for Indiana. Indiana did pick up a offensive guard in the portal from Wisconsin. We'll see whether or not Bray puts his name in the list for the portal. Indiana and Miami players both get 5 days following the end of that game. They get 5 additional days. So it should be something that we learn quickly. This one real quick from Jeff C. He's talking about Boswell. What if Boswell develops this season and then enter the portal? I think it's just the way of the world nowadays. CJ, you agree with that?
Yeah, very much. Look, again, that goes into buying into yourself and believing in yourself and making the most of your opportunity out of Texas. If you become a guy that now has more opportunity elsewhere afterward, well, look, Texas will be back in the market for a linebacker, and this won't be the only chance or experience like this at multiple positions.
It won't be, and I think that we're going to see more of this. Actually, I mentioned on ontexasfootball.com earlier today. We could definitely see Texas taking a third string type quarterback just to make sure Diabell retains his red shirt. We could see another lower, not a low end receiver, but someone that is not requiring a great deal of NIL.
You're not breaking the bank for.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see some of that because I do think that even though they are pushing a lot of the money toward the middle of the table on the high-end guys, they still need those other guys that are good teammates, good practice guys. Sark still wants to do 2-spotting, which is a practice term for having 2 full practices going simultaneously. Guys like this are very important in that aspect. CJ, before we let folks go, I want to mention this. We do have another live stream. Rod and Jerry are going to be on at 7 o'clock tonight talking Longhorn football. CJ, before we let folks go, is there anything you want to add on to this discussion?
Yeah, I think it's something that we're going to see more and more of in Texas recruiting, whether it's out of the portal, whether it's obviously high school recruiting, but Texas making sure that the guys that they add to their room, Bobby, care about playing for Texas, right? Obviously, they're not going to deter and go away from the big national 5-star guys in the high school level. They're going to go big money spending in the portal as well. But we saw it with the 2 kids from Georgetown that signed with Texas that are on campus now. You go back and you add a kid from Lake Travis, and, those kids understand what it means to put on the Longhorn logo and the Longhorn jersey, and they're proud to do exactly that. So when you talk about how important and what it's like to be a locker room guy and how important it is for them to, now be a student at the University of Texas as well, with family members having attended or grown up watching and attending games, I think that's a part of what Texas will now pursue whenever they're looking for developmental pieces, depth pieces, guys that they believe can come in and make an instant impact as well. We've seen them now target many of those guys, in which over the years we've seen them kind of go different directions. So that's something for me that I've kind of stored away in my back pocket. And this is another example, I believe, in which they're going back saying, hey, local kid wants to be a Longhorn. Let's make it a reality now.
Dad's a former Longhorn, former Olympian. 6'1", 230 is what he lists at, 225. Markus Boswell, out of Akron, played as a freshman there, was a true freshman for Akron this year, recorded 19 tackles. He is now a Longhorn. Brad Chesney says, with all of the frustration with NIL and the inability to keep depth, it's fun to see someone like this to get an opportunity. Well said.
Very much agree.
Yeah, that's I think exactly where CJ's going. It doesn't have to always be about the almighty dollar. Right. Sometimes it's about where you want to be. All right. Thank you very much, CJ. We'll have more 7:00 live stream for CJ Vogel. I'm Bobby Burton. Also for our producer, Matt Hutchinson. One last thing, Markus Boswell, hook 'em horns, buddy. Congratulations.